Bereshith chapter 42. 1. And when Jacob saw that there was grain in Mitzrayim, Jacob said to his sons, Why do you look at each other? 2. And he said, See, I have heard that there is grain in Mitzrayim. Go down to that place and buy for us there, and let us live and not die. 3. And Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Mitzrayim. 4. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, Lest some harm come to him. 5. And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the scarcity of food was in the land of Canaan. 6. And Yosef was the governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. 7. And Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke to them harshly, and said to them, Where do you come from? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. 8. So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. 9. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he had dreamed about them, and said to them, You are spies! You have come to see the nakedness of the land. 10. And they said to him, No, my master, but your servants have come to buy food. 11. We are all one man's sons, we are trustworthy, your servants are not spies. 12. But he said to them, No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land. 13. And they said, Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And see, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more. 14. And Joseph said to them, It is as I spoke to you, saying, You are spies. 15. By this you shall be proven, by the life of Pharaoh, you do not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. 16. Send one of you, and let him bring your brother, while you are kept in prison. So let your words be proven to see whether there is any truth in you, or else, by the life of Pharaoh, you are spies. 17. And he put them all together in prison for 3 days. 18. Now Joseph said to them the third day, Do this and live, for one revere Elohim. 19. If you are trustworthy, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, and you, go, bring grain for the scarcity of food of your houses. 20. And bring your youngest brother to me, and let your words be confirmed, and you do not die. And so they did. 21. And they said to each other, Truly, we are guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the distress of his life when he pleaded with us, yet we did not listen, that is why this distress has come upon us. 22. And Reuben answered them, saying, Did I not speak to you, saying, Do not sin against the boy, and you would not listen? And see, his blood is now required of you. 23. And they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. 24. And he turned himself away from them and wept, but came back to them and spoke to them. And he took Shimon from them and bound him before their eyes. 25. And Joseph commanded, and they filled their sacks with grain, also to put back every man's silver into his sack, and to give them food for the journey. And thus it was done for them. 26. So they loaded their donkeys with the grain, and went from there. 27. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his silver, for there it was in the mouth of his sack. 28. And he said to his brothers, My silver has been returned, and there it is, in my sack. And their hearts sank and they were afraid, saying to each other, What is this that Elohim has done to us? 29. So they came to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan, and reported to him all that befell them, saying, 30. The man, the master of the land, spoke to us harshly, and took us for spies of the land. 31. But we said to him, We are trustworthy, we are not spies. 32. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is today with our father in the land of Canaan. 33. And the man, the master of the land, said to us, By this I know that you are trustworthy, leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for the scarcity of food of your households, and go. 34. And bring your youngest brother to me, then I know that you are not spies, but that you are trustworthy. I give your brother to you, and you move about in the land. 35 And it came to be as they emptied their sacks, that look, the bundle of each man's silver was in his sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of silver, they were afraid. 36 And Jacob their father said to them, You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more, and Shimon is no more, and you would take Benjamin. All this is against me. 37 So Reuben spoke to his father, saying, Take the lives of my 2 sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I myself bring him back to you. 38 But he said, My son is not going down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any harm should come to him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave.
Chapter 43 But the scarcity of food was severe in the land, and it came to be, when they had eaten up the grain which they had brought from Mitzrayim, that their father said to them, Go back, buy us a little food. But Yehudah spoke to him, saying, The man vehemently warned us, saying, You do not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you let our brother go with us, we go down and buy you food. But if you do not let him go, we do not go down, because the man said to us, You do not see my face unless your brother is with you. And Yisrael said, Why did you do evil to me to inform the man that you still had a brother? And they said, The man kept asking about us and our relatives, saying, Is your father still alive? Have you a brother? And we informed him according to these words. How could we know that he would say, Bring your brother down? And Yehudah said to Yisrael his father, Send the boy with me, and let us arise and go, and live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I myself shall stand guarantor for him. From my hand you are to require him. If I do not bring him back to you and put him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. For if we had not delayed, truly by now we could have returned this second time. And their father Yisrael said to them, If so, then do this. Take some of the best fruit of the land in your vessels, and bring a present down for the man, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. And take double silver in your hand, and take back in your hand the silver that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. It could have been a mistake. And take your brother, and arise, go back to the man. And I'll Shaddai give to you compassion before the man, so that he shall release your other brother and Benjamin. And I, if I am bereaved, I am bereaved. And the men took that present and Benjamin, and they took double the amount of silver in their hand, and arose and went down to Mitzrayim, and stood before Yosef. And Yosef saw Benjamin with them, and said to the one over his house, Bring the men home, and make a great slaughter, and prepare, for these men are to eat with me at noon. And the man did as Yosef said, and the man brought the men into Yosef's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Yosef's house. And they said, It is because of the silver, which was put back into our sacks the first time, that we are brought in, to throw himself upon us and fall upon us, to take us as slaves, our donkeys too. So they came near to the man over the house of Yosef, and spoke to him at the door of the house, and said, O my master, we indeed came down the first time to buy food. But it came to be, when we came to the lodging place, that we opened our sacks and saw each man's silver in the mouth of his sack, our silver in its weight. And we have brought it back in our hand, and we have brought down other silver in our hands to buy food. We do not know who put our silver in our sacks. But he said, Peace be with you, do not be afraid. Your Elohim and the Elohim of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. Your silver had come to me. And he brought Shimon out to them. And the man brought the men into Yosef's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet. And he gave their donkeys fodder, and they made the present ready for Yosef's coming at noon, for they heard that they were to eat there. And when Yosef came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand into the house, and bowed down before him to the earth. And he asked them about their welfare, and said, Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive? And they said, Your servant, our father, is in good health. He is still alive. And they bowed their heads down and did obeisance. And he lifted his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother of whom you spoke to me? And he said, Elohim show favor to you, my son. And Yosef hurried, for his emotions were deeply moved towards his brother, and he looked to weep, and went into his room and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out and controlled himself and said, Serve the food. And they placed him by himself, and them by themselves, and the Mitzrites, who ate with him by themselves. For the Mitzrites could not eat food with the Ivrim, for that is an abomination to the Mitzrites. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at each other in astonishment, and he took portions to them from before him. But Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs. And they feasted and they drank with him. Bereshith chapter 44. And he commanded the one over his house, saying, Fill the men's sacks with food as they are able to bear, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and the silver for his grain. And he did according to the word of Yosef, which he spoke. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. And when they had gone out of the city, not having gone far, Yosef said to the one over his house, Rise up, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, Why have you repaid evil for good? Is this not the one from which my master drinks, and with which he indeed divines? You have done evil in what you have done. So he overtook them and spoke these words to them. And they said to him, Why does my master say these words? Far be it from us that your servants should do according to this word. See, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan the silver which we found in the mouth of our sacks. How then should we steal silver or gold from your master's house? With whomever of your servants it is found, he shall die, and we shall become my master's slaves as well. And he said, Now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found becomes my slave, and you are innocent. And they hurried, each man let down his sack to the ground, and each opened his sack. And he searched, with the oldest first and with the youngest last, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they tore their garments, and each man loaded his donkey and went back to the city. And Yehuda and his brothers came to Yosef's house, and he was still there. And they fell before him on the ground. And Yosef said to them, What deed is this you have done? Did you not know that a man like me indeed divines? And Yehuda said, What do we say to my master? What do we speak, or how do we clear ourselves? Elohim has found out the wickedness of your servants. See, we are my master's slaves, both we and he also with whom the cup was found. But he said, Far be it from me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he becomes my slave. And you go up in peace to your father. And Yehuda came near to him and said, O my master, please let your servant speak a word in my master's hearing, and do not let your displeasure. My master asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? And we said to my master, We have a father, an old man, and a young child of his old age, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. And you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, and let me lay my eyes on him. And we said to my master, The boy is not able to leave his father, for if he leaves his father shall die. But you said to your servants, Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you do not see my face again. And it came to be, when we went up to your servant my father, that we told him the words of my master. And our father said, Go back and buy us a little food. But we said, We are not able to go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we shall go down, for we are not able to see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant, my father, said to us, You know that my wife bore me 2 sons, and the one went out from me. And I said, Truly he is torn to pieces. and I have not seen him since. And if you take this one from me too, and harm comes to him, you shall bring down my gray hair with evil to the grave. And now, if I come to your servant my father, and the boy is not with us, since his own life is bound up in his life, then it shall be, when he sees that the boy is not with us, that he shall die. So your servants shall bring down the gray hair of your servant our father with sorrow to the grave. For your servant went guarantor for the boy to my father, saying, If I do not bring him back to you, then I shall be a sinner before my father forever. And now please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a slave to my master, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how do I go up to my father if the boy is not with me, lest I see the evil that would come upon my father? Bereshith, chapter 45. And Yosef was unable to restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he called out, Have everyone go out from me. So no one stood with him, while Yosef made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Mitzrites in the house of Pharaoh heard it. And Yosef said to his brothers, I am Yosef, is my father still alive? But his brothers were unable to answer him, for they trembled before him. Then Yosef said to his brothers, Please come near to me. And when they came near, he said, I am Yosef, your brother, whom you sold into Mitzrayim. And now do not be grieved nor displeased with yourselves, because you sold me here, for Elohim sent me before you to preserve life. For 2 years now the scarcity of food has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there is neither plowing nor harvesting. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth, and to give life to you by a great escape. So then, you did not send me here, but Elohim, and he has appointed me for a father to Pharaoh, and master of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Mitzrayim. Hurry and go up to my father and say to him, Thus says your son, Yosef, Elohim has made me master of all Mitzrayim. Come down to me, do not delay. And you shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and be near to me, you and your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. And I shall provide for you there, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, because 5 years of scarcity of food are still to come. And look, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Binyamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. And you shall inform my father of all my esteem in Mitzrayim, and of all that you have seen. And you shall hurry and bring my father down here. And he fell on his brother Binyamin's neck and wept. And Binyamin wept on his neck, and he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. And after that his brothers spoke with him. And the report of it was heard by the house of Pharaoh, saying, The brothers of Yosef have come. And it was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, Say to your brothers, Do this, load your beasts and go, enter the land of Canaan, and take your father and your households, and come to me, and I give you the best of the land of Mitzrayim, and you eat the fatness of the land. And you have been commanded, Do this, take wagons out of the land of Mitzrayim for your little ones and your wives, and you shall bring your father and come. And do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of all the land of Mitzrayim is yours. And the sons of Yisrael did so. And Yosef gave them wagons, according to the command of Pharaoh, and he gave them food for the journey. He gave to all of them, to each man, changes of garments, but to Binyamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. And he sent to his father this, 10 donkeys loaded with the best of Mitzrayim, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and food for his father for the journey. So he sent his brothers away, and they left. And he said to them, Do not quarrel along the way. And they went up out of Mitzrayim, and came to the land of Canaan to Yaakov their father. And they told him, saying, Yosef is still alive, and he is governor over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Yaakov's heart ceased, for he did not believe them. But when they spoke to him all the words which Joseph had spoken to them, and when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of Yaakov their father revived. And Yisrael said, Enough, my son Joseph is still alive. Let me go and see him before I die. Bereshith. Chapter 46. And Yisrael departed with all that he had, and came to Beer-sheva, and brought offerings to the Elohim of his father Yitzchak. And Elohim spoke to Yisrael in the visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am the Isle, Elohim of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Mitzrayim, for I shall make you there into a great nation. I myself am going down with you to Mitzrayim, and I myself shall certainly bring you up again, and let Joseph put his hand on your eyes. And Yaakov rose up from Beer-sheva, and the sons of Yisrael brought their father Yaakov, and their little ones and their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to transport him. And they took their livestock and their property which they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and came into Mitzrayim, Yaakov, and all his seed with him. His sons and his sons' sons, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed he brought with him to Mitzrayim. And these were the names of the children of Yisrael, Yaakov and his sons, who came into Mitzrayim. Reuven was Yaakov's firstborn. And the sons of Reuven, Kanuk and Palu and Ketzron and Carmi, and the sons of Shimon, Yemuel and Yamin and Ohad and Yakin and Sokar and Shaul, son of a Canaanite woman, and the sons of Lewi, Gereshon, Kehath and Merari, and the sons of Yahuda, Er and Onan and Shelah and Peretz and Zerach. But Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Peretz were Ketzron and Kamul, and the sons of Yissaskar, Tola and Puah and Yov and Shimron, and the sons of Zevulun, Sered and Ilon and Yakleel. These were the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Yaakov in Paddan Aram, with his daughter Dinah. All the beings, his sons and his daughters, were 33. And the sons of Gad, Tziphion and Kagi, Shuni and Etzban, Eri and Arodi and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Yimnah and Yishwa and Yishwi and Beriah and Serach their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Caber and Malchiel. These were the sons of Zilpah, whom Lavan gave to Leah his daughter. And these she bore to Yaakov, 16 beings, the sons of Rachel, Yaakov's wife, Yosef and Binyamin. And to Yosef in the land of Mitzrayim were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. And the sons of Binyamin, Bela and Becher, and Eshbaal, Gera and Naaman, Aki and Rosh, Muppim and Kuppim and Ard. These were the sons of Rachel who were born to Yaakov, 14 beings in all. And the son of Dan, Cushim. And the sons of Naphtali, Yakseel and Guni and Yetzer and Shillem. These were the sons of Bilhah, whom Lavan gave to Rachel his daughter, and she bore these to Yaakov, 7 beings in all. All the beings who went with Yaakov to Mitzrayim, who came from his body, besides Yaakov's sons' wives, were 66 beings in all. And the sons of Yosef who were born to him in Mitzrayim were 2 beings. All the beings of the house of Yaakov who went to Mitzrayim were 70. And he sent Yehuda before him to Yosef to point out before him the way to Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen. And Yosef made ready his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Yisrael. And he appeared to him and fell on his neck and wept on his neck a long time. And Yisrael said to Yosef, Now let me die, since I have seen your face that you are still alive. And Yosef said to his brothers and to his father's household, I am going up to inform Pharaoh and say to him, My brothers and those of my father's house who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. And the men are shepherds, that they have been men of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall be when Pharaoh calls you and says, What is your occupation? that you shall say, Your servants have been men of livestock from our youth even till now, both we and also our fathers, so that you dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Mitzrites. Bereshith, chapter 47. Then Yosef went and spoke to Pharaoh and said, My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess, have come from the land of Canaan. And see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, What is your occupation? And they said to Pharaoh, Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, We have come to dwell in the land, because there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the scarcity of food is severe in the land of Canaan. And now, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spoke to Yosef, saying, Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mitzrayim is before you. Settle your father and brothers in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know of capable men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock. And Yosef brought in his father Yaakov, and stood him before Pharaoh, and Yaakov barak Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Yaakov, How many are the days of your life? And Yaakov said to Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojournings are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojournings. And Yaakov barak Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. So Yosef settled his father and his brothers, and gave them a possession in the land of Mitzrayim, in the best of the land, in the land of Rameses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Yosef provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with bread for the mouth of the little ones. Now there was no bread in all the land, because the scarcity of food was very severe, and the land of Mitzrayim and all the land of Canaan became exhausted from the scarcity of food. And Yosef gathered up all the silver that was found in the land of Mitzrayim and in the land of Canaan for the grain which they bought. And Yosef brought the silver into Pharaoh's house. And when the silver was all spent in the land of Mitzrayim and in the land of Canaan, all the Mitzrites came to Yosef and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the silver is gone. And Yosef said, Give your livestock, and I give you bread for your livestock if the silver is gone. So they brought their livestock to Yosef, and Yosef gave them bread in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks they owned, and for the herds they owned, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when that year had ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, We do not hide from my master that our silver is all spent, and my master also has the livestock we owned. There has not any been left before my master but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and let us and our land be servants of Pharaoh, and give us seed, and let us live and not die, and let the land not lie waste. And Yosef bought the entire land of Mitzrayim for Pharaoh, because every man of the Mitzrites sold his field, because the scarcity of food was severe upon them. And the land came to be Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into the cities, from one end of the borders of Mitzrayim to the other end. Only the ground of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had allotments from Pharaoh, and they ate their allotments which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their ground. And Yosef said to the people, Look, I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall be that in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 is your own, as seed for the field and for your food, for those of your households, and as food for your little ones. And they said, You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the eyes of my master, and we shall become Pharaoh's servants. And Yosef made it a law over the land of Mitzrayim to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the ground of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. And Yisrael dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, in the land of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and bore fruit, and increased exceedingly. And Yaakov lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years. So the length of Yaakov's life was 147 years. And the time for Yisrael to die drew near, and he called his son Yosef, and said to him, Now if I have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh, and show kindness and truth to me. Please do not bury me in Mitzrayim, but I shall lie with my fathers, and you shall take me up out of Mitzrayim and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I do as you have said. And he said, Swear to me. And he swore to him, and Yisrael bowed himself on the head of the bed. Bereshith, chapter 48. And after these events it came to be that it was said to Yosef, See, your father is sick. And he took with him his 2 sons, Menashe and Ephraim. And Yaakov was told, See, your son Yosef is coming to you. And Yisrael strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. And Yaakov said to Yosef, El-Shadi appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and barak me, and said to me, See, I am making you bear fruit, and shall increase you, and make of you an assembly of peoples, and give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Menashe, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim, before I came to you in Mitzrayim, are mine. As Reuven and Shimon, they are mine. Your offspring whom you shall bring forth after them are yours, and let them be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. And I, when I came from Paddan, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, and I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Beth-Lechem. And Yisrael saw Yosef's sons, and said, Who are these? And Yosef said to his father, They are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me, and let me barak them. And the eyes of Yisrael were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew them near him, and he kissed them, and embraced them. And Yisrael said to Yosef, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed. So Yosef brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Yosef took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Yisrael's left hand, and Menashe with his left hand toward Yisrael's right hand, and brought them near him. And Yisrael stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Menashe's head, consciously directing his hands, for Menashe was the firstborn. And he barak Yosef and said, The Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil. Barak the youths. And let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Yitzchak, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Yosef saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Menashe. And Yosef said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. And he barak them on that day, saying, In you Yisrael shall barak, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Menashe. Thus he put Ephraim before Menashe. And Yisrael said to Yosef, See, I am dying, but Elohim shall be with you, and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. Bereshith, Chapter 49. And Yaakov called his sons and said, Gather together so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov, and listen to Yisrael your father. Reuven, you are my firstborn, my power and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of exaltation and the excellency of power. Unstable as the waters, you do not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Shimon and Lewi are brothers. Their weapons are implements of violence. Let my being not enter their council. Let my esteem not be united to their assembly. Because they slew a man in their displeasure, and they lamed an ox in pleasure. Cursed be their displeasure, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I divide them in Yaakov, and scatter them in Yisrael. You, Yehudah, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Yehudah is a lion's cub. From the prey you have gone up, my son. He bowed down. He crouched like a lion, and like a lion who rouses him. The scepter shall not turn aside from Yehudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes, and to him is the obedience of peoples. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine, he washed his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun dwells at the seashore. He is a haven for ships, and his border is unto Sidon. Yissaschar is a strong donkey lying down between two burdens, and he saw that a resting place was good, and that the land was pleasant, and he inclined his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a subject to slave labor. Dan rightly rules his people as one of the tribes of Yisrael. Dan is a serpent by the way, an adder by the path, that bites the horse's heels so that its rider falls backward. I have waited for your deliverance, O Yahweh. God, a raiding band raids him, but he raids its heel. Bread from Asher is rich, and he gives delicacies of a sovereign. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He gives words of elegance. Yosef is an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree, an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Yaakov. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Yisrael. From the isle of your father who helps you, and by Isle Shaddai who barak you with Birakoth of the Shamayim above, Birakoth of the deep that lies beneath, Birakoth of the breasts and of the womb. The Birakoth of your father have excelled the Birakoth of my ancestors, up to the limit of the everlasting hills. They are on the head of Yosef, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Binyamin is a wolf that tears. In the morning he eats prey, and at night he divides the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Yisrael, and this is what their father spoke to them. And he bahrak them, he bahrak each one according to his own barakah. And he commanded them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Kittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Kittite as a possession for a burial site. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Yitzchak and Rivkah his wife, and there I buried Leah. The field purchased, and the cave which is in it, from the sons of Kath. And when Yaakov ended commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Bereshith, chapter 50. And Yosef fell on his father's face, and wept over him, and kissed him. And Yosef commanded his servants the physicians to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Yisrael, and 40 days were completed for him, for so are completed the days of embalming. And the Mitzrites wept for him 70 days. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Yosef spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, See, I am dying, bury me in my grave, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. And now, please let me go up and bury my father and return. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. And Yosef went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mitzrayim, and all the house of Yosef, and his brothers, and his father's house. Only their little ones, and their flocks, and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Yarden, and they lamented there with a great and very heavy lamentation. And he observed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning for the Mitzrites. That is why its name was called Avel Mitzrayim, which is beyond the Yarden. And his sons did to him as he had commanded them. For his sons brought him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephron the Hittite, as property for a burial site. And after he had buried his father, Yosef returned to Mitzrayim, he and his brothers, and all who went up with him to bury his father. And when Yosef's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, What if Yosef hates us, and pays us back all the evil which we did to him? And they sent word to Yosef, saying, Before your father died, he commanded, saying, This is what you are to say to Yosef, I beg you, please forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgression of the servants of the Elohim of your father. And Yosef wept when they spoke to him, and his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, See, we are your servants. And Yosef said to them, Do not fear, for am I in the place of Elohim? And you intended evil against me, but Elohim intended it for good, in order to do it as it is this day, to keep a great many people alive. And now, do not fear, I provide for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. And Yosef dwelt in Mitzrayim, he and his father's household. And Yosef lived 110 years. And Yosef saw Ephraim's children to the 3rd generation. The children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were also brought up on Yosef's knees. And Yosef said to his brothers, I am dying, but Elohim shall certainly visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov. And Yosef made the children of Yisrael swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring up my bones from here. And Yosef died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was placed in a coffin in Mitzrayim.